All right, so you are watching video number 1. This is the notes video, which is on page 60 in your notebooks. What we're going to be looking at today is solving and graphing inequalities. And what I want you to try and remember is most of the time when you're solving inequalities, it's going to be exactly the same as when you're solving an equation. The only difference is that symbol, as opposed to an equal sign, is going to be our less than, greater than, less than, equal to, or greater than or equal to. There are a couple things that will happen that we'll talk about, but for the most part, the steps are going to be the same. So you want to look at your equation, your inequality, and decide what you need to undo, and then do the same thing on both sides. So to undo a -6, we add 6 to both sides. We would have 6x is less than 18. We divide both sides by 6, and we get that x is less than 3. So this is the solution to our inequality, and that is the thing that we're going to end up graphing when we go to graph. We don't graph like the original question. You have to make sure that you solve the inequality, and then once you get to this x is less than 3, that's what we will graph. So if we put 3, 5, 7, 1, -1, we would want an open circle above the 3, and we want to choose x values that are going to be less than that. And our interval notation would go from -infinity up to 3, not including 3, so we use the parenthesis. Go ahead and hit pause if you need to get that written down before we move on to number 2. Number 2, we need a multi-step. So again, we're going to distribute and then solve our equation. So 5 times x is 5x, plus 5 times 8, which is 40, minus 7 is greater than or equal to 23. Combining our like terms, we get 5x plus 33 is greater than or equal to 23. And now we can solve our equation. Subtract 33 from both sides. 5x is greater than or equal to -10. Divide by 5, and we get that x is greater than or equal to -2. -2, 0, 2, 4, -6. We would like a closed circle above -2 since we have the equals, and then we want to choose the x values that are greater than -2. Starting at -2, going towards infinity, that's our interval notation. All right, number 3, I would put a star next to because this is like our special case when we're solving inequalities. The last step, there's something, I don't know, strange that happens. So we start the same way that we normally would. We subtract 12 on both sides, and we're left with -3x is less than or equal to -21. And then we're going to need to divide. But we need to divide by the same term that x is being multiplied by. And so we need to divide by a -3. Okay. Now what happens with inequalities is if you divide by a negative, or if we multiply by a negative, the less than or greater than sign is going to switch directions. Okay. We'll talk about the reason why that happens later, but for now, that's just going to be a rule that we want to try and remember. Whenever you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number, the inequality is going to switch sides. Essentially, what's happening is the small side is getting moved, right? But we'll talk about that another day when we can actually talk together. So we should get x is greater than or equal to 7. So we want to close circle. We want to pick values of x that are larger, 9, 11, and not the values that are smaller, 5 and 3. It can really help to double check your answers if you like plug in a 0, right? If I do a 0 at the beginning, -3 times 0 plus 12 is less than or equal to -9. 12 is not less than or equal to 9. So we know that that shouldn't work. And so 0 should not be shaded. And it's down here in this unshaded region. So we know we shaded the right way. Interval notation would be the bracket going from 7 to infinity. And that's our interval notation. All right, that's video number 1. There will be a second video for you to work on, and then you will get started on your homework. Good luck.